Okay, it's 4 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order. And our first item is approval of the agenda. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Tom Dewey. That the rules of procedure order be amended to allow public meetings to follow mayor's remarks and to allow one closed session item to follow the public meeting. And further, that the agenda for regular council meeting held July the 12th, 2022 be approved as presented. Are there any amendments, Kathy?
No, there are not, Madam Mayor.
So as presented. So we will open the meeting. We will go into closed session. So the public will need to leave and then we'll go back into open session after that. And then there will be. Yes, after that. Just so everybody knows. Okay. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. All right. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof of any item on tonight's agenda by any member of council? Seeing none, we'll note that in the minutes. Have a motion moved by Sherry Wan and seconded by Bill McDonald that the minutes of the regular council meeting held June the 28th, 2022 be approved as presented. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, mayor's remarks, just some brief remarks. Canada Day was excellent. It was so nice to see everybody out and about again and back to somewhat of normal life. The beach was very busy. Rec committee did an excellent job getting things together. I heard the entertainment was great. I didn't get to it all, and the fireworks, our TJ Deschamps did the fireworks and they were just spectacular. So hats off to the rec committee and thank goodness we are at this point where we can start to do things again and be somewhat normal. We're going to meet again before the Parham Fair, which is the 20th of August. There's also Country Music Awards on the same day that night on the 20th of August. More to come on that down the road. Anything else coming up that folks want to mention? Nobody else has any? That's right, tomorrow, and it's going to be in South Frontenac. And you can also, I believe, register to get in on the Zoom meeting as well.
Yes, you can.
And that's at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. And
Do we need to register or
we
are
don't.
to send it? Oh, I see.
You don't
So
have
this
to,
is
no.
for the public, but we will be getting automatic invite.
No, they're expecting council to attend.
Oh, they want us there in person.
Yes, I believe so. Yep. Okay. All right. Moving on then. We are now going to do our public meeting. And it is a road closure on the joint boundary between Oso and Bedford in South Frontenac and Central Frontenac. And Mr. Rosnick. Cindy, do you want to talk about this and then I'll read the motion?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything to add to the report. If there's any questions, feel free. We can entertain the questions, and we do have the applicant here if there's any questions for the applicant. I can confirm that the notification went in the Frontenac News on the June 30th edition. The notice was placed on the website and has been on the website since June 22nd. And the notice was circulated to the agencies and the property owner on June 22nd as well. We are still waiting to hear from Hydro in terms of whether there's any hydro easements that would need to be dealt with. I don't believe from a site visit that there are, but that will follow when they do their site inspection.
Okay. Is there any member of the public that would like to speak to this closing? For or against? Okay. Don't see anyone putting up their hand. All right. Does council have any questions? Let me read the motion first. And then if you have questions, you can ask them at that time. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Sherry Wan, that council receive input from the public meeting and the accompanying report prepared by the deputy clerk. And further, that subject to the comments received at the public meeting, council approved the recommendation to stop up and close a section of the unopened road allowance between geographic townships of Bedford and Oso, said sections to be described by the reference plan. And further, that provided the Township of South Frontenac also agrees with the closure, staff are authorized to proceed with the next steps to obtain an appraisal of the land once the reference plan is complete and bring back a bylaw to council to stop up, close, and convey the said road allowance to the applicant as a lot addition, subject to any easements as may be required by Hydro One Networks, Inc. Said bylaw to indicate that all costs relating to the registration of the bylaw and transfer documents on title be at the property owner's expense. Questions or comments? Bill?
Yes, to you, Madam Mayor, too. Maybe Cindy can answer the question. Is that what's the time frame in which we will be hearing back from South Frontenac in regard to this matter?
Well, through you, Madam Mayor, the reason we moved the public meeting to the beginning of this meeting is because the public meeting for South Frontenac is this evening as well. So Mr. Rosnack's here, and then he's going to be leaving and going to South Frontenac to that public meeting. So we should hear, they should make a decision as well tonight.
We can hear back later by text if it's an issue. If we don't hear, we'll assume that all is well. Okay, any other questions or comments? No, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Right. Okay. Now, I'm going to read the motion to go into closed session. I would say to the public, probably half an hour.
Between half an hour to an hour, depends on, it all is going to depend on, Madam Mayor, on if there's some.
Here's mine.
No, mine's not working. Oh, there it is. Oh, gee, I was hitting the other one before. Anyway, it's going to depend on whether half an hour or an hour. It's going to depend on council, as if they may have questions for our solicitor in regards to road allowances in general. So
He's not here yet, though.
no, he's on his way. He should be here any moment.
Should we go on a little bit?
You could.
Okay, let's do that. Let's we take back everything we've just said because we're going to skip over those two items and we're going to go to our construction detail report. And I see our building inspector, Andy, is with us. Come on up, Andy. We'll get your part done. I have a motion moved by Tom Dewey and seconded by Bill McDonald that council received the construction details report, June 2022, for information. Discussion. Andy, you've been busy. And you're still busy.
Yes, I have.
No questions or comments for Andy? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. So it seems to be a little slower than last year, but not a lot.
I can say it's not slower. I'm slower getting the permits out because I'm out inspecting more at the moment.
Yeah. It's to be expected.
I'm trying to keep everything going the best I can.
Yeah.
And Murray's writing his exam tomorrow, so hopefully that goes well. But,
Excellent. Yeah, we can only do what we can do.
yeah.
All right, good. Sherry.
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor. I just was curious, Andy, I know the last time that you had submitted a report, you were about 80 applications out. Are you more than that at this point?
There's over 100 applications year to date, so.
Wow. Okay. All right. We have, is that it? That's it for Andy?
No.
Development Services. Okay, we have a motion moved by Tom Dewey, seconded by Sherry Wan, where a request for quotation RFQ number FA 2022-04 for custodial service for Oso District for 1 year was posted on June 9th, 2022, with a closing date of June 30th, 2022. And whereas one quote was received from Clean Sweep Cleaning Service in the amount of $39,400, excluding HST. And whereas the manager of development services / CBO is recommending to council to accept the quote from Clean Sweep Cleaning Service as the successful bidder in the amount of $39,400, excluding HST. Now, therefore, it be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of the manager of development services and award the 1 year contract for custodial services for Oso District to Clean Sweep Cleaning Services, and further that the Manager of Development Services / CBO be authorized to issue a purchase order for the work. Discussion, Bill?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Andy. I'm not aware of who this company is. It's a local company, and do we have history on it and all that sort of thing? Can you fill us in, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McDonald. It's Ashley Thompson. She's been doing the cleaning for the last year anyways. Her contract is up already. But she does the Hinchinbrook area as well as Oso.
Okay. Brent?
Andy, is there any indication as to when other contracts are going to come up? Because obviously this company is dealing with Hinchinbrook, and then this contract has come up for Oso. Is there any other district that's coming up for renewal in the immediate future?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Brent. The contracts are structured so that they can be renewed at the same price year over year, but when it comes time for an increase, that's when we put it back out for tender. Ashley agreed to do Hinchinbrook at the same price. Just because there's not as many events happening at the hall in Piccadilly as there is here at Oso. And the Mountain Grove and Arden are done by Elaine Fleeler, and she does an excellent job. As far as I know, she's willing to continue to do that.
I guess in my follow-up, because fuel prices, I think, are going to be a big driver. I guess my sense is, are we going to see some dramatic changes in contracts coming up fairly close to now because of the spike in gas prices?
I don't think there's anything else coming up in the near future that will affect the budget.
That's always good to hear. Sherry?
Through you, Madam Mayor, just a comment, really, I was surprised to see how much the usage has increased, actually.
I was as well,
Yeah. People are anxious to get back out and doing.
for sure.
Okay, any more questions? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay, that's it for Andy. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Andy. Now we have Public Works. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Sherry Wan, that council received the Public Works Activity Report as prepared by the Public Works Manager dated July the 12th, 2022 for information. Questions or comments? No, go ahead. We'll finish this. Bill? Go ahead. Yes.
I read the whole report. There's no question there, but I have another question, maybe that Tyson, is it my imagination, or do you find the application of calcium chloride on the back roads isn't as effective this year as it has in the past? Because it seems to me that there's roads that were done that seem to have a lot of dust on them. Can you give me a quick report on that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McDonald, we haven't noticed that. We have actually got some, maybe it depends on the area. Maybe we could find a way to do some kind of a poll, but especially in the south end of the township, we've actually noticed the roads holding up really well after the first calcium. I've got one complaint from, I actually forget the road name now, maybe Price Road, a really high volume road that may need a second application of flake, but so far that's the first time I've heard that.
Okay. Tom, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tyson, I know you're into line painting now, and I'm hoping that the Arden Road down to the boundary at Stone Mills will not get forgotten this year. I know you've done work over here, but not over that way yet, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to get that done this year.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Dewey, I understand that was missed last year, and I'll make a point to send an email just to confirm tomorrow.
Brent?
I noticed in the report, Tyson, that there'd be an update with regard to status of hazardous waste. And I don't want to jump ahead too much, anticipating what the minutes of the committee will be. Is there anything that you're able to share at this point in time with regard to what we're planning for hazardous waste?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Cameron, the Waste and Recycling Committee met last week, and the minutes will be published to the next, the minutes will be published to the next council meeting. The hazardous waste discussion was positive and moving forward. The Public Works Department has procured 3 prices for the containers that will hold our temporary storage of the hazardous waste. And the last estimate was brought to me today. We should be able to go ahead and order the buildings that they're actually sea containers that we're gonna house it in. And we still are in good shape to achieve our goal for an opening of spring, summer 2023, and hopefully get our in-house stuff that we've collected that's improperly stored, before the winter. That's our goal.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay, so at that point, we will stop, and Tyson, you're staying, the department heads are staying as part of the discussion. So I have a motion moved by Sherry Wan and seconded by Tom Dewey that council move into closed session pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act to discuss advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Heritage Roads, Oso Road status 239(2)F. All those in favor? Carried. So I would suggest to the public that 45 minutes to an hour, and can somebody text somebody that can text the others maybe? So you have to leave now and then come back. bad. That bathroom's 30 below.
I know, it's cold in there.
Okay. Are we live? Okay. I have a motion moved by Bill McDonald and seconded by Tom Dewey. The council rise from closed session pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act to discuss advice that's subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, Heritage Road, Oso Road status, section 239(2)(f). All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you very much, David. Door open and come back to the table because you're back on Public Works.
I know it's cold.
It is. There's Erin.
Oh, she's coming.
Okay, we are at Public Works. Okay, I have a motion. Moved by Tom Dewey, seconded by Sherry Wan. Whereas the current cost of clear Central Frontenac garbage bags is $1 for a residential sized bag and $2 for a commercial sized bag. And whereas the Waste and Recycling Committee have agreed that an increase of 50 cents per bag was a reasonable increase for 2022. And whereas the increase was included in the 2022 budget, which was approved by council. And whereas the Waste and Recycling Committee are recommending to council to formally increase the cost of garbage bags by 50 cents per bag. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council approve the recommendation of the Waste and Recycling Committee to increase the fee for clear Central Frontenac garbage bags from $1 per bag to $1.50 per bag for residential size bags, and from $2 a bag to $2.50 per bag for commercial size bags. And further, that a bylaw be passed later in the meeting to affect the fee increase to be effective August the 1st, 2022. Any discussion? Philip?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just curious if there was any looking into, I guess, what other jurisdictions are charging for waste collection, or how we determine, 50 cents was reasonable.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Smith, most other municipalities are charging approximately double, and we did not feel that doubling the cost would be fair to the taxpayers in one increment. And it was actually the treasurer's recommendation to drop it to 50 cents and do it over the next coming years, whenever else it makes sense with our revenues versus actuals.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, Public Works, Charlotte Lake Rink, moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Tom Dewey. Whereas the Charlotte Lake Rink Committee has received support from council to move forward with the Charlotte Lake Rink / Sport Court project. And whereas council has authorized staff to work with Grant Match and to submit a funding application to the Ontario Trillium Foundation, August 3rd, 2022 intake, for a maximum amount of $150,000 to be used to complete the second phase of the project. And whereas the Charlotte Lake Rink Committee have continued the planning phase of the project and prepared to a detailed budget for the project. And whereas the Charlotte Lake Rink Committee and the Public Works Manager are looking to begin phase 1 of the project in 2022 construction season. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council authorize staff to begin the project and for the treasurer to pull the $125,000 from the recreational reserves that has been previously dedicated to the Charlotte Lake Rink. Discussion. This is to get it started. Nikki?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor, to Tyson. What's the big rush? Why is the big push on now to get it done? Like usually we wait, the Arden rink, for example, had to wait till it got the approval from Trillium. So I guess as I said, what is the rush to get it done right away?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Gowdy, just don't want to miss out on an opportunity to be able to execute it. So this it's different from the Arden rink, with the cost of everything being more. The 150,000 doesn't fully cover everything we want to do in that location. So some of it has to, the 125 has already been kind of raised by council. That will have to, that is eligible to be used for the excavation portion anyways. So we would like to just not wait any longer and get something physical in the ground to work off of.
I think it has been, what, 10 years in the making?
At least 10 years, Madam Mayor.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Now, I will mention that the committee was here. Members of the committee really wanted to be here. They were here on time, and then the lawyer, now that they're going to be here in 1 minute. So I don't know.
We just had a vote. All those in favor?
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Opposed?
Okay.
Carried. So you can let them know. Phase 1 will begin. Yeah, they fundraised a lot of the 125, did they not? Over the time?
I believe that a lot of that money was fundraised, yes.
Yeah.
But council has been setting aside, has supported this and been setting aside 25,000 for 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Okay. Well, Charlotte Lake fundraised as well, but again, 10 years ago, they started this. So there was money set aside over that period of time. What was,
Also to the Sharbert Lake Snowmobile Club at the time, that when they disbanded, they gave some monies from what there was transferred that they had. And there was at least $10,000 that they had set aside, and that was earmarked and came to the municipality with the proviso that it be used for Sharbert Lake rink. So that is part of it. Well, that's part of under the reserves. You'd have to ask Michael some of those questions, and he's not here today.
okay,
Also want to remind council that we're looking at this from I understand all the old wards are still fairly separated, but just want to remind council that the approach I'd like to take is all the old wards working together and to get every community a rink eventually, every little community a rink or some kind of sports facility eventually. So we would definitely appreciate everybody's support for as soon as we get, if we are able to execute the Sharbert Lake one, if we get the grant, we'll focus on the next one after that. The next one that makes most sense with the intake of a grant, with the timing and the eligibility. I just want to work together on it.
good. Okay, excellent. Council does too. All right, we are at Fire and Emergency Services. Thank you, Tyson. Moved by Sherry Wine, seconded by Bill McDonald. The council received the CFFR and the CFBLE activity report as prepared by the manager of emergency services / fire chief dated July the 12th, 2022 for information. Any questions or comments on Chris's report? No questions or comments. All those in favor? Carried. Yes.
For next council, the certification process has been put in place for July 1st, as they promised. I didn't know council would be interested in a presentation on that in the next council meeting.
Yeah.
Just to go a quick overview, not a long one.
Sure.
Sure.
Pull the mic closer.
Sure. So I'm just asking council if they would like a presentation on the certification program that came in effect in July 1st. Just to go over our options and what's in place with the province.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. I've seen some Facebook pages and posts about the training that's been happening.
Yes, yeah, it's been very successful. They're on their last weekend coming up for in-class, and then they're in Lyndhurst for 2 weekends for their practical. So it's going well.
Quite a commitment for those volunteers
For
to be
sure.
doing all this work.
And we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Great. Thank you to them. Nikki.
Oh, through you, Madam Mayor, before you depart, I had a question that wasn't about your report. Quite a few people seen the truck in the ditch there a few weeks ago, so I was wondering if you could kind of give us a update
Sure.
about it.
It's a very sad update. The vehicle was going for its certification. And our mechanic was coming back, I believe, and it struck a deer. Consequently, went into the ditch and did significant damage. Our estimate is about $21,000 to fix it. So our adjuster is yet to get back to us to see what our outcome will be on that.
Which truck was it, Chris?
It was the squad from Arden. So we have taken one of the utility trucks out of Charlotte Lake and put it in place there for now. And the Charlotte Lake team are just using their rescue squad for medical calls right now. So.
Oh, okay.
Chris was okay too. wasn't
Yes, he was. He was a bit shook up, but he was okay. So
There's been a few deer collisions on 38 lately.
Yeah. that was early in the morning.
Deer fries are driving them out of the bush, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for Chris? Okay, thank you. All right, we have moved by Philip Smith and seconded by Brent Cameron, that Council for the Township of Central Frontenac hereby approve the removal of Heather Robinson and Donna Longmire and authorize the following individuals. This is signing authorities for the RBC deposit box. So the following individuals: J. Michael McGovern, Aaron Babcock, Stephanie Hammond, Jody League, and Janice Cahill, to sign for access to and control of the contents of such safety deposit box, and that this approval shall apply not only to the said safe deposit box, but to any other safe deposit box that may be leased by the Township of Central Frontenac. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to the Royal Bank of Canada and remain in force until such time as it's no longer required. And further, that J. Michael McGovern, Aaron Babcock, Stephanie Hammond, Jody League, or Janice Cahill be granting authority for any items for which Canada Post requires a signature. Whew.
Everything legal.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. There we go. You can.
Michael will be proud.
Okay. Now, I haven't been looking at my agenda here. Where are we?
Right.
Treasury.
Yeah, got that done. Now you're in here.
Okay, there we go. Now we've got a letter of concurrence, proposed Rogers Tower. So moved by Brent Cameron, seconded by Philip Smith, whereas Rogers Communication has identified part of lot 8-9 concession 10 Hinchinbrook as a suitable location for a communication tower, and through its agent, Four Brothers Connect, has undertaken the steps required to fulfill the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada procedures set out in Circular CPC 2003. And whereas the municipality as a land use authority has been consulted and informed of the process. And whereas the proponent is requesting that the municipality provide a letter of concurrence. And whereas the proponent has provided satisfactory evidence to confirm it has completed the noted process in said letter. Now therefore it be it resolved that council receive this report for information and authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign the letter of concurrence. Discussion? Bill?
Madam Mayor, to whoever, we've received several letters in regard to this application. Are those being satisfied? Are we reacting to those requests?
So through you, Madam Mayor, we do have Sarah Duncan on the Zoom, so I can just give me a minute. I'll enable her and she could maybe speak to that.
That's cool. I know this.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine. The question has been asked if there were letters that came in that have been addressed.
Yes, through you, Mayor, to the councillor. We did have 2 letters come in that had questions regarding what was the process we were following, when was the application made, how was the site selected. A response was sent by myself to both of those letters. And Cindy, who I've been working with, was also a recipient of a copy of that communication. We've also had about 15 letters of support for the tower come in, and those I have just acknowledged to say thank you very much, and we hope to build the tower shortly.
Okay, good. Brent?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And just confirming that we have adjusted the map. I know that there was one concern with regard to the siting, but my understanding, and I believe that person's understanding, is that the change in siting satisfies their concerns, and that I'm not aware of any other concerns with regard to that. That would necessarily mean a major change. Certainly, this is badly needed in that area. It's I think that the people that live in that area, what they've said to us, I think it just speaks to the importance of getting connectivity out there, particularly access to cell. So maybe you can just confirm the new siting is good.
So I will let Sarah address that, but before that, I just wanted to clarify, because it was Sarah pointed out, when I initially published the package, I had included the sketch of the preferred location of the person who wanted it moved further away from their property, but I had forgotten to include the sketch of the settled location that Rogers had the sketch prepared for. So I did add that sketch second. So depending on when you looked at your council package, there's now 2 sketches. So the one that looks more like a survey is the one, I believe Sarah can confirm where it is going. I believe that the property owner is, although they prefer their location, that they are, I believe, content with what the final decision. But Sarah, can you speak to that?
Certainly, through the mayor to the councillor. Yes, I've been in contact with Mr. Olson, who is the landowner who had asked us to relocate the tower site. And the northeast corner that was on the map that he proposed, unfortunately, was not a location that the landowner wanted to have the tower located in. So we basically moved the tower south, as Cindy has mentioned, and it will be right along the roadside. So we'll have a short access into the tower. It's not as far as Mr. Olson would like, but he is satisfied with the location. And we are in contact with Mr. Olson. We've been talking about the tower. And his concern was he just didn't want it to move back to the original location. And I have confirmed that it will not.
Excellent. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion? Carried.
And just as a reminder, I might get the 2 of you to sign that letter before you go tonight, because Kathy's on holidays. So,
okay.
Thanks.
Yep, we will.
Thank you, Sarah, for joining.
Good. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, now we have a verbal report on the terms of reference moved by Philip Smith and seconded by Brent Cameron, that council approve the terms of reference provided by the ad hoc Central Frontenac Pickleball Committee. Victor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to speak to that just a little bit. As you notice, this is a draft, and I had it submitted because I would like to have other council members. If you see something that's missing, please let me know. We'll have the official terms of reference at the next meeting. One small change, there's one more member that's going to be added to the committee. Kathleen White will be joining the committee as well.
Okay. Good.
Any comments, suggestions?
I think it's a draft, and you may come up with other things to add as you go along. So good to have a draft this quickly.
Well, we've already had 2 meetings.
Good.
And the minutes for those meetings will be at the next.
Excellent. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Public Works, Tyson. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Philip Smith. The council received the additional comments from Rhonda Kimberly Young and Robert Young regarding concerns with Matthew Street redesign and additional information from Public Works Manager. Do you want to come to the table? And this is in regard to the parking. It's 30 below in here. I've got to fix the temperature. Go ahead, Tyson.
It's cool, that's for sure. Nikki likes it.
Through you, Madam Mayor, or I guess to you, Madam Mayor, I'm available to answer questions. I don't have any other additional info.
Okay, I guess the question is, in the documents, has the parking been changed? What was the end result of the meeting? I didn't read your
So at the
report.
end of the meeting, with myself, Mayor Smith and Kathy McMunn, we, and Noah Greer, when we met with, Robert and
And Victor was there as well.
Rhonda.
and Victor was there, Rhonda and Bob Young. We decided to put a proposal to the engineer to have them draft up what it would look like to have perpendicular or parallel parking instead of perpendicular parking, to reduce the impact to the property adjacent to their yard. And the engineer said, we were on the phone with them again today in a meeting, actually on Teams in a meeting with them today, and no problem. They're going to redraft that and put it back to us. So that the impact that would have is not going to, it's going to be about half as far back into the towards the property line as before, but it will still be, I guess, a staff decision. I haven't been instructed to bring it back to council, but that was going to be represented to, I guess, those members of the public,
Yeah.
and then discussed with myself and Kathy and Fran. So.
Sure. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, Tyson, we got a letter also from another resident on the street there, Sandra Moles, regard to the effect it's going to be on her property. Have you not?
No, I didn't.
We didn't receive it.
I didn't get a letter.
No.
It was I received it. I would like you to meet with her
It should have been on the
and have her an opportunity for her to talk about. She was concerned about the fact that her property has been designated as a historical property. And she felt that some of the work that we're doing may in actual fact have an impact on her property and that designation. So if we could, perhaps we could meet with her also. She's right on the corner.
So through Madam Mayor, Councilor McDonald, I have met with the Mose family, assuming they're the ones you're talking about are the ones on the in the northeast corner of that intersection at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
They have been fully supportive this whole time, and I haven't had any correspondence with them or been told of any correspondence from them of negativity about the project. They have been, we stood in her front yard for about 45 minutes and I showed her all the plans, and we walked the street and I showed the possible retaining wall, and they actually had quite a bit of input and some really positive input as well. So.
Good. Okay.
If I may, I will try and get you a copy of what I received.
With councilors present, how much more public feedback, public input do we want to allow to these plans before
I think we're-
issuing the construction drawings? And what's the procedure? Because we've got, out of all the residents and all that we've got, it's coming down to 2 or 3 or 4 that still have some uncomfortability with it, but it is delaying every step of the process, but that's okay. I just want to know what you would like the process to be from here on out when we have negative public feedback.
I think normally what we do is we sort of present the information and give them time to look at it, then have the public meeting to hear them out and then make decisions after that. I think we're maybe a little fast with this one, but we're getting their input, and you've met with them whenever they want to meet, which is great. So I don't see any problem of holding up the project, especially if the parking is going to be less intrusive than what the Youngs were worried about. And you've talked to the Moes about the lot. So I would say we're ready to go.
Absolutely. And anything that counselors receive, that's the first I've heard of anything negative from the Moses. Anything counselors receive, just get it to me as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because I am very quick to get down and meet with them, typically one-on-one, and then bring that info back with my notes to staff. But because we've had some really great public feedback and some really important advice we were given from people who've lived there, like even Marlene, for 60 years, she lived there. She actually brought some good points up. So
Yeah.
bring it to my attention as soon as possible. There's always stuff the engineer could miss. But yeah, it would be nice to be able to finalize these construction drawings.
Okay. Philip? Oh, Philip and then Sherry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to comment and say thank you for working with all the residents. It's good to hear that you've been getting feedback from them. I just wanted to comment that I think Sue Wing was in the audience tonight, and I didn't know if that was why.
No, that was Laura, her
Okay.
sister Laura.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Sherry?
Through you, Madam Mayor. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. So you've had conversations with the residents that were going to be impacted and they have a better feeling about the outcome of this?
Yes,
Everyone seems okay?
yes, there was definitely some just misunderstanding of some of the drawings and stuff. And Kathy and Fran will agree that just upon explanation, and Victor will agree, just upon explanation, there was a lot of questions answered. And there's still not everybody is 100% happy, but I don't know if we'll ever achieve that or not. But
Nobody likes change.
in general, people are mostly in support of this. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. So Bill, you'll
you.
forward your email to Tyson? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Okay, we have a motion moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council received the approved minutes from May 16th, 2022 Economic Development Committee meeting for information. Discussion. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Philip Smith, that council received the minutes from the May 3rd, 2022 Central Frontenac Trails Committee for information. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, that over. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council received the minutes from the April 20th, 2022 MVCA board meeting for information. All those in favor? Carried. Delegations, and we have with us Pamela Giroux. Thank you for your patience, Pam. Come on up. Just push that button to your right and the light will go on and then we can hear you.
So some of you may not know who I am, but I arrived in Sharbot Lake in 1966 to teach at Sharbot Lake High School. And I see some of my former students here. So.
Pull that microphone close to you, Pam.
Oh, okay.
Because people that are listening in can't hear unless you speak in the mic.
All right. So I have a letter here that I would like to read to you.
Council got a copy of that letter?
Okay, but I'll just read it and then give my.
Sure.
Okay. All right. My father, Edmund Riggins, was a Canadian soldier stationed in London, England when I was born in 1944. The reverberations of those war years still live within me, and that is why I am compelled to write about the forgotten soldiers at Oso Hall. I discovered their portraits recently, stowed on the floor beside the piano in the room behind the stage. Oso Hall was originally named as the Soldiers Memorial Hall when it was constructed in the 1920s. It was built to commemorate the brave young men from Sharbot Lake and environ who went overseas to fight in the Great War. Some never returned from fighting in the trenches of Europe, while others were fortunate to make it back. When the hall was being repainted sometime in 2019, my friend Linda Bush and I found the two soldiers' portraits sitting on top of some chairs stacked in the cloakroom. We were shocked to see these precious treasures from the past abandoned. I went to the township office to make inquiries and express my concern about the possibility of damage to these priceless historical artifacts. Nothing was done. Later, I decided to hang the pictures myself, which I did, and it was my husband, Marcel, who told me to do that. Then, in 2021, the hall renovations began in earnest, and all the pictures were removed once again. This time, the two portraits of the soldiers ended up on top of the piano in the room behind the stage. Again, I went to the township office to repeat my concerns, but to no avail. I realized the renovations are being done by people who have no connection with the village or its history. I applaud them for their accomplishments so far. The people responsible for the safe and proper storage of historical artifacts are those at the township office. It's a miracle the domed glass on the oval antique frames has not been broken. One of the portraits is missing the nameplate, which was attached to the bottom of the frame. I am sure that the Legion veterans and others whose family roots date back to the 1900s would be as upset as I am about this disregard for historical artifacts. History must be protected so that when the renovations are completed, the heroes from our past will once again be restored to a place of honor for future generations, lest we forget. So I have pictures attached, and this one is a Hollywood. And this one here is, I remember his name because I saw the nameplate often enough before when I was watching over them. And his name is McPherson, and I know there are veterans who know the family. And this is where they're stored. They're an accident waiting to happen because they're stored beside the piano against the wall. And what I am asking right now is that they be placed in a wooden box that is surrounded by styrofoam or newspaper or something to protect those priceless domed frames. And they'll be ready then when the renovations are complete to put them up on the walls. And I think actually when that is to be done, it probably should be done by somebody who has experience in how to hang pictures properly and in a, in a way that is not decorative, but, it's respectful and everything. And so this is all I am asking, is that you can, assure me that they will be put somewhere and stored safely. And that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, I think the renovations are done, if I'm not mistaken. Andy, is that true? So instead of a box, I think we need to have those pictures cleaned, spiffed up, and hung up. Brent?
In addition to that, we may want to check for any damage. We've already talked about a nameplate missing.
Yes, the nameplate.
So
yeah.
we're definitely going to have to address issues like that before they go up as well.
Yes, they're very ornate, these frames, and they should be cleaned carefully, you know. I did clean them off with just a Kleenex that I had when I took the pictures of them, but I just, I've been watching over them.
That's good. You have some good points. Bill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Pam, I just want to thank you for bringing it to our attention. And in going a little bit further, I'm wondering if we could have an electronic record of some of the pictures and such that are in the hall that could be added to our historical museum collection in the library that would ensure that if something did happen somewhere, we would have another form of record that might be. But I want to thank you from my seat for doing this. Appreciate it.
There's also the picture of Francis and Mary Charbot. And I remember, I remember when I came to the hall in the early years, like in the 70s and 80s, their picture was in an oval frame, just like the soldiers, and a domed glass over it. But someone took it and enlarged it and made it bigger. But what happened to the other one? Well,
we will certainly get on it. Andy is in charge of, well, Andy and Tyson are in charge of facilities, and they're both listening. So we will get some work on cleaning them up, and maybe they could call on you to help decide where things should go in the hall. Would you be up for that?
Well, if that's okay by me, if you want. I have another friend who is very good at picture hanging and so on. So I might get her too.
I'm sure the staff would be happy to entertain some help to do that.
Okay, because there's quite a few plaques.
We will be in touch.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pam.
Okay. I could leave you with a song from the Little Pig.
Sorry. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Brent Cameron, that council receive the request for donation from Quinte Conservation Authority, and further that council does what? Nobody's filled in anything. Do you want to donate some dollars, or do you not want to donate at this time?
Maybe to return budget. I missed the last meetings and I'm sorry, I was not up on, I knew we were fundraising. It's their 75th anniversary. But I didn't realize that anything was going out to the municipalities. So I'm sorry, I don't have much else to say.
Okay. Victor?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My concern would be that if we give something that sets a precedent, we got two other conservation authorities. And although I am a representative for Rideau Valley, I'm not sure that we should be just handing out money to the conservation authorities.
Okay.
But if you do, then I'll be back next meeting for Rideau Valley.
So there is a section, council does not donate at this time. Is that where I'm headed? Okay. So that is the motion, that council does not donate at this time. All those in favor? Carried. It's tight budget years all the way around. All right, we have a bylaw. Of course, let me flip this over. Any notice? No, we got bylaws first. Okay. Moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Brent Cameron, that bylaw 2022-44 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2017-13, being a bylaw to establish, maintain, and regulate a system for the disposal of municipal waste and to provide for the establishment of policies, regulations, and fees for the disposal of municipal waste, garbage, and other refuse, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 12th day of July, 2022. Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Okay. All right. Is there any notice of motions?
No, there is not.
Any giving of notice of motion?
No, there is not.
Any new or other business?
No, Madam Mayor.
All right, we have a closed session. Moved by Brent Cameron and seconded by Philip Smith, that council move into closed session pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act to discuss labor relations or employee negotiations, section 239(2)D. All those in favor? Carried. Good night, Chris, Andy, and Tyson. Take us with you.